Hello guys, it's Sendou here again. So what we have today is actually gonna be about a topic that's been talked a lot in the community as of recent. And I'm sure some people are tired of hearing about this particular topic, and I do understand it, but I still think it's a very important discussion to be had. And I tried to talk about it on Twitter a bit, but like what I ended up noticing is that Twitter is really not the right place to make any complex opinions, like more complex stances to one sentence. So instead, I'm gonna be making this video and try to extend my points a bit and try to offer you some examples of what I had in past and so on. So just as you can see, I'm playing minis battling here. So this is actually gonna be my first example of this meta discussion, like this discussion of whether you should be primarily playing weapons that are meta or if you should play weapons that are, that you find most comfortable, like what should be first, like default choice. And for me, minis battling is like something that's very comfortable for me. I like playing it a lot. I played it in Splatoon 1 and had a lot of like good time with it, and like I like the mechanics of it and everything. But at the same time, I do recognize it's not like currently very high tier weapon. And when I'm looking for an alternative to range blaster, which is like my main, as you may know, I'm looking at minis battling, and I'm thinking about whether this could be the weapon that's gonna be the alternative I have for playing a weapon that thinks a bit more, weapon that I can play to support my team for some stages where range blaster is not so good. And yeah, for sure I'll look at minis battling, and that could be one option. And I'm sure I could make minis battling work on certain stages, like I could make it work on some stages. But what ends up being the problem for me is that I don't want to play too many weapons personally, because I do believe that just focusing on a couple of weapons is gonna be enabling you to be better with those weapons, and if you try to spread out a bit too much, then you're not gonna be as effective. So that's why I chose Brella actually, because with Brella I know that okay, every time we need an inking alternative, I just pick up Brella and I know it's gonna be good for the map. I know it's gonna be like really effective at what it's doing. So that's just like one example of having a more niche choice and then having a so-called meta choice, and like how it really works out in real life. And yeah, actually second example is gonna be of my previous team, Chimera. If you don't know, it was a pretty dominant Splatoon 1 team in West around early 2016. And in Chimera, I'd say we didn't exactly play meta. So our very common lineup was Crack Controller, Luna Blaster, Sniper, and Tentec, for example. And yeah, indeed, some so-called top analyst of the community gave us flack for it and said that we were doing a really bad thing here. But we like had like probably the biggest win streak in West ever that hasn't been able to match to this day. Like we were actually like beating every tournament we attended for like 2 months and so on. So it was really hard for us to see like what the lack of what we were doing was, because we were winning everything, so what was so bad about what we were doing and so on. But then we played Inkstorm and we ended up playing Almost Kids, who won that tournament, and they beat us also. And like kind of like what I learned there was that there's always limitations when you're going off a more like more niche path and like less meta basically. But I think there's more to it than that. But definitely like at that point I realized, okay, Almost Kids, I know like this is not like that, this is not a top level Japanese team. I know there's like we're like 20 teams that are better than this, but still they beat us pretty handily. And I don't know if they played meta, like strictly speaking, but they definitely like played meta more than we did. And that's just like one example that has like remained with me, and that I think taught me a lot back then. And actually third example is gonna be about me using quick respawn Zeltsam in 2015. So basically, when Luna Blaster became my main, my thinking for the line, kind of gear I wanted to run with the thing was, I definitely want quick respawn cell jump, and this was kind of weird because like back then that wasn't really the gear selection anyone had basically. Like even in Japan, like you look at Luna Blasters, like you look at what kind of gear Cross is running in Inkstone 1, it's a bit different. But like back then I was sure that okay, this is gonna be like a big thing, like quick respawn cell jump. I mean Luna itself was not like a meta choice, but just the gear, and I thought like by large quick respawn is gonna be really strong. And I ended up being right, and eventually like almost 1.5 years later, almost everyone of the top teams was running heavy quick respawn. And I don't know, it took a while for this to like, you know, for us to get to this point. And I wonder why that is. I think it might be because there was like many fundamentally wrong assumptions about the game regarding like how you have to stay alive at all costs at every time no matter what, and you know, some other things like this. And yeah, indeed, eventually we had many more people running quick respawn, but first I think it was widespread in Japan again, which is gonna be a common theme with this video. But yeah, the main point here is that I think it's completely possible that, you know, you figure out the next big thing, you figure out the thing that's gonna be like the huge thing, and yeah, that's completely possible. But I also want to say it's unlikely, because like if you look like how many people think they are like doing something very huge and different. And I also want to say, like, if you are trying a choice that you know it's not popular right now, then do like ask yourself, like, am I doing this to, you know, actually like think that this could be actually good, or am I doing this to be like unique or something? Like, are you trying for your choice to remain out of the box, so to speak, or are you trying to bring your choices like inside the box? Like, are you trying to make this something that other people could use as well? Or is this only your personal strat that only you wanna be using? But there's like good things to keep in mind. But yeah, it's completely possible that you found the next big thing, just unlikely. So as a conclusion, I would say that primarily you should be playing what you find most comfortable. But here comes the thing, like it doesn't really, if you're trying to perform the best you can, which I assume if you watching this channel is what your goal is, at least on some level, then you cannot be affording to ignore what's strong in the game right now. Like, you have to be still studying the choices that are gonna be the most effective and most popular in the game, and how you can play around those choices. And if you look at some other games like Smash, for example, you know, you see like actually the people currently winning the tournaments the most are necessarily using the highest tier choices ever, but they aren't exactly to the bottom tier either. So, you know, there's probably like some, like, it's completely possible to do well with a choice that's not like god tier, but when you go like down and down in the tier list, at some point you're gonna be hitting a brick wall if your actual goal is to be the best and not just, you know, if your goal is to reach S+, then, you know, this video probably doesn't apply to you. You can probably do it with any weapon if you put effort to it. Of course it's easier with certain weapons, but still this doesn't really apply to you as I'm explaining it right now. But if your goal is to be the best, like actually be the best, then your weapon choices are gonna be defining that a lot. And, you know, just because, you know, Splatoon is a team-based game, so what can easily happen is that you like have this idea in your head that I'm gonna be doing well with this one weapon, and this weapon's gonna be my thing, and then you have your teammates kind of forced to pick up the slack basically. So it might be that you're not doing as much as you would be doing with some other weapons, so your teammates have to be like compensating for that. And I think typically, like, even if you go more niche choice, that doesn't really give your teammates the same freedom. In fact, I think they're more like gonna be more strictly like chained by the meta. Like, they have to be providing support to you and so on. Like, it can be anything. It can be like you're playing a support weapon that's not just thinking as much, and, you know, your teammates, then of course you're not gonna be as useful as support, and maybe you have some other things that make up for it, but it's still probably gonna end up with your teammates having to you know, kind of like compensate for the fact that okay, maybe you're not doing as much at every times. And yeah, I think like the reason why I do want to like talk about this is that in competitive, like time and time again, I see this happen like it happens all the time. It just keeps like the same cycle of events keeps repeating itself. And like I explained before, previously, like almost hits in Inkstone, whatever it was, 3 I maybe like beating Chimera and so on. And that was with Quick Respawn back then, which was like supposed to gonna be the next big thing. And I wasn't a huge fan of it actually back then. I thought it was bad design. I actually still do to this day, so I was really excited about that. But then I go to Splatoon 2 and I play Inca Galactic Cup, and we have like somehow Japanese teams are the only teams in the whole tournament who are using Prella against our team, and I'm like, I don't really understand why this is, because Prella is supposed to be like really good. And yeah, this includes us as well. Like we did the same thing. We didn't have a Prella player for the longest time, even if we know it was really strong. But I think there has to be some kind of like golden midway between what West is doing right now and what Japan is doing right now. With you know, okay, that doesn't mean that everyone has to go like watch my video with the 4 strongest weapons and choose one and just only play that for the rest of their life. That's not really the point of this video. It's more like, you know, just keep those choices in mind and like thought about it. Is this the choice for me? Could I be playing this? Because there's a difference between, okay, this is not a weapon that suits my style, and then there's the other thing that is, you know, I don't instantly perform very well with this weapon, so I'm not gonna be putting in the practice to become good with it. So, you know, just have to try to figure out which of those cases is for you. And yeah, I think even bigger problem than just ignoring meta, or whatever how you wanna call this, is West underrating map control, which is basically has more to do with like comp building. But I'm probably gonna have to make an own video of that, since I don't think I can really go into it right now. But yeah, I think my like final conclusion is that just, you know, don't be stubborn about your weapon choices. Like honestly, like I think many weapons in this game are fun to play, so you know, do try out different things. But also don't think you're above the more meta choices. Like, you know, I don't think like if you're playing competitive, you shouldn't ever think like that. I'm not like I'm too good to use choices that are the strongest, because whatever reason, a different reason I heard. But I think that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions or how you feel about, you know, this topic yourself, then do leave a comment. And yeah, see you next time.